Welcome to On the Mic with Loudmouth Matt, where he discusses all things U.S. politics from the vantage point of an average blue-collar man.
Hello, everybody. This is Loudmouth Matt. Look, this is about a conversation I'm having with a mutual. It's been a few days since I was able to respond to her video. It's about D.E.I. So, with that being said, I am going to have you pause and read. This is going to be D.E.I. Okay, everybody. Now, since you guys have had the time to pause, hit the link, go back and read D.E.I., the meaning of D.E.I. Okay, now my understanding of D.E.I., after reading it again, okay, all it says, my understanding, is that the field is equal now of all, it's a pot, okay, it's a melting pot. Is the best way I'm going to explain it. Is the way I can explain it. You take a pot, you put everybody in it that's qualified. It doesn't matter their sexuality. It doesn't matter their gender. It doesn't matter their religion, their race. So by DEI, it says you as this entity has to take all qualified applicants and consider them all. That's it. That's all it says. You have to not be, you can't discriminate someone. That's really all it's saying. You can't discriminate against someone. Okay, again, you can't discriminate someone because of their gender, because of their religion, race, sexuality, anything like that. You can't discriminate. That's all it says. That's DEI. It says ball field, it's equal. That's it. That's what it does. Now, what I think is happening, and then this is my opinion. I believe that what's happening in this conversation with multiple people is that they get DEI and affirmative action confused or swapped around. Okay? Now, with that being said, I'm going to ask you pause and read, and if you need more, please hit the link if the link is working. If not, please let me know. Now, this is going to be on affirmative action. Hi, everybody. Again, you guys have had your time to pause, read, hit the link, come back to continue this conversation. That was affirmative action. Okay? So, in my opinion, again, this is only my opinion, I'm thinking and I believe that the two, DEI and affirmative action, are getting intertwined. And I believe for due calls, I think it's proper. However, what's happening, again, in my opinion, is that they're getting blurred with each other. And affirmative action was signed into an executive order back in the 60s by who? Kennedy, John F. Kennedy. Okay, now, with that being said, others have signed executive orders to increase affirmative action. Now, with that being said, let's go back to the original conversational point of DEI. DEI is all it's saying is you take a pot, you put all qualified candidates in this pot, makes it a melting pot. Out of all of those candidates that are qualified, meets any and all qualifications and or exceeds all the qualifications, they go into this melting pot. Affirmative action says, with that melting pot, you have to take this percentage of what's inside this melting pot that are qualified for the job, more than qualified, says you have to take from this melting pot. You can't just go after the white cis male that's applied. Okay, that's DEI and affirmative action, hand in hand. DEI says you got to make a melting pot. Affirmative action says you need X, Y, and Z from, say, melting pot. That's all. So my original comment was something along the lines of, if it wasn't for DEI, this agent would not have had the opportunity to apply for the job. And if she did apply for the job, they would not have had to consider her application. Okay? That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is because of DEI, she is now able to go into that melting pot of applicants, be picked out of that melting pot of applicants because she's qualified. She's more than qualified. Take her or him, whoever they are, and put them into this job. But affirmative action says, okay, well, you have to take a certain amount of percentage from the melting pot. We have to make the workforce equal. It's not saying that affirmative action is taking a less qualified person to put them in that position. That's not what affirmative action is. Now, what everybody gets in their into an uproar, let me say it that way, is because they take the affirmative action and they take it to the point of, well, they only got the job because of her sex or because of their color, because of their sexuality, or anything like that. That's what they're implementing that affirmative action did. That's why they got the job. They didn't get it because they were qualified. No, that's what DEI is doing. DEI is saying they have to be qualified for your job, for that job. So they have to meet their criteria. But now you, as an entity, has to go through this melting pot. That's all it's doing. It's actually making a pot for all qualified applicants to go into. So I think that's what's happening with DEI and affirmative action. If I wasn't too clear on that, what my opinion is on this section of it, I am sorry, because it does get blurred. But that's for an average Joe Schmo like me who doesn't understand all the legal mojo mambo Joe nonsense that's in it. I don't understand all of that good stuff. I can take it, boom. Basic understanding is what I was saying. Okay? So let me say this again, like I said at the beginning of this video, and I'm going to say it at the end, that this agent, I am not saying that this agent got the job because of her sexuality. I am not saying that. I am saying that if it wasn't for DEI, she would not have had the opportunity to be considered for that job. That's what I'm saying. Okay? Am I saying that she's unqualified? No. Am I saying she does not meet the criteria? No. I am not saying that. Okay? I am only specifying that if it wasn't for DEI, that the playing field would not be fair or not be equal. That's all I'm stating, or that's all I'm trying to say. So that's why I feel, and again, in my opinion, that they get misrepresented, they get confused into what they are because of what we have been told through our growing up, through our parents and our uncles and everybody else. So let me state this again, that it makes a melting pot, makes it equal. Now, I wanted to say to the mutual on this conversation that I've been having, I wanted to say thank you. I appreciate the conversation that we are trying to have. I think it's our job as mutuals and as content creators to do this, so people in the middle and that are also seeing what's going on out here isn't what's supposed to happen, but it's our job to say, okay, let's have the conversations so we can get the people from the middle back over here to say, yeah, you got to, and keep the conversation going. Now, I wanted to say again, thank you. I hope this has been informative. I hope that we can learn from each other. And to people who have watched this, who knows this mutual, please, I'm going to link this mutual in my info on this. So please follow my mutual. Give her no hate, none whatsoever. This is our job as content creators. I love her content. I support her content. And she's an ally. So I hope we can continue this mature conversation. And again, I appreciate you. I appreciate the conversation. And this is very respectful, I think, for both of us. And I do hope you have a good day. For everybody else, we are all in this together. We are all Americans, if we're documented or undocumented. We're all Americans. So with that being said, keep your eyes open, keep safe, and remember, we're all into this together. Be mindful, be safe, and watch each other's back.